You've got ideas, you've got ambition, you've got no time, or so you think. I'm Marissa Lonick, and I help busy moms with big dreams and no time. Join me each week as I dive into time management strategies, goal setting and achieving framework, and inspiring guests who are juggling mom life, work life, fill in the blank life. Dreams don't work unless you do, and just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't still make it happen, whatever it means to you. Welcome to the Mama Work It podcast. Hey, mamas. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Mama Work It podcast. I'm so glad you're here. In case you are new around here, my name is Marissa Lonick, and I am the host of the show and the founder of Mama Work It, where we support women in the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. And today's topic and guest are so in line with our mission over here at Mama Work It. I'm just so excited to introduce you to Zena Stevens. Zena is a mom influencer who is dedicated to empowering working moms to prioritize themselves and live more fulfilled and joyful lives. Yes, with her expertise and personal experiences, Zena shares valuable insights on the importance and benefits of putting yourself first as a working mom. As a wife and a mother of two active girls, ages 11 and 16, Zena understands the demands and challenges of balancing family life while pursuing a successful career. Zena has 15 years of experience in corporate America. She has steadily grown her career as a senior manager for a Fortune 200 company. Zena's own journey of climbing the corporate ladder while raising a family has given her deep insights into the unique struggles faced by working mothers. Her goal is to help women, particularly working moms, live more fulfilled and joyful lives. I couldn't think of a better topic. Zena, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to be here to talk with you, Marissa, and also to your audience. So thank you so much.
Yes. Well, the first question I always love to ask guests on the show is just tell us a little bit more about your personal journey as a mom and particularly as a working mom.
Yeah. So my journey probably started out a little bit different than a lot of other moms. I have always been a working mom. So I graduated from college, and 9 months later, I had my daughter. So I have always been a working mom. I don't know what it feels like to not be balancing a career while also raising my family. So my oldest daughter is almost 17 years old. Like I mentioned, I started out my career with her. So she has been along for the ride with me as I built my career while trying to figure out momhood. I went back to school and got my master's degree, and she was right there with me as well. So I like to say she was my graduation gift and kind of got me out into the world of working mamahood. So that's pretty much, how I started out as a working mom. My husband and I have been together for 19 years. So along the way, I became a wife. We bought a house. We relocated multiple times for my husband's career. And I have just been doing my best to keep my ambitions um, top of mind while also building my family and being an amazing wife.
Love that. And you added to your family because you have two girls now.
Yes, added to my family after I completed my graduate degree. Shortly after, about a year later, we had our second daughter, who is 5 years younger. So they're 5 years apart, which I think that gap really helped a lot in terms of having the space to do other things in between both of their births.
Love it. I love how you called the birth of your first daughter your graduation present. And it sounds like the birth of your second daughter was like your post graduation present.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even put those two things together, but yes, you're absolutely absolutely correct.
Yeah, great rewards for hard work.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
So, Zena, you're obviously a very successful working mom.
Yeah.
Tell us, like, what's been your secret to balancing career, marriage, motherhood, relocations in between
Yes.
all that?
Yeah. So for me, I like to remind myself that I don't have it all figured out. And I think I learned that pretty early on in my journey. That number one, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't need to look like anyone else's journey. And also that I am continuously learning along the way. So I would say that that has been the most instrumental mindset for me along this journey is knowing that it's okay if it doesn't look perfect. It's okay if it doesn't look like anyone else's journey. And it's okay to be figuring things out. Um, no matter what it looks like from the outside, I say this all the time, like all of us are in this together, just doing the best that we can and figuring things out along the way. So I would say that that mindset has definitely carried me through my career.
I love that so much.
Mhm.
I feel like having the gift of being a lifelong learner and
Yeah,
that mentality is such an important skill,
yeah.
whether you're a mom or you're not, but
Mhm.
especially feeling that immense pressure
Yes.
in working motherhood. It's just so so useful in so many ways. And I just love that. I am a mom of four and I'm still figuring this out day in and day out. Quick example, we had strep throat run through our house right after school started
Oh
this
my
year.
goodness.
And you know how it goes when something like that that's ultra contagious goes through your house, like one
Mhm.
kid at a time, usually every few days. So it lasts, it just lingers. And everybody went down. Okay. But my youngest son and I were the last ones standing. Actually, I did dodge it. I'm going to knock on wood as I say that. But we were the last one standing. And I'm like, great, we didn't get it. And he never complained about a sore throat. He never complained about even feeling sick until this one day, like after everyone had been on antibiotics forever, he said his stomach hurt.
Mhm.
And coincidentally, and I find this to be a very like intuitive divine intervention too, a friend of mine who is a nurse had been at my home previously and mentioned that a symptom of strep throat is when little kids say their belly hurts. Fourth kid, I had no idea.
Oh my goodness.
Lo and behold, right, next day he gets swabbed, diagnosed with strep throat, put on the antibiotics. Thank God everything was fine. But like, I should know that by now, right? But I'm not gonna shame myself in that. I'm a lifelong learner. Like I'm
Yes.
still figuring this thing out, even 4 kids down the line.
But
So
that
I just love that mentality.
100%. And I think that's such a really good example too, because yes, you have 4 kids, but sometimes you may not have experienced that before. You didn't know that was a symptom. So I think just having that mindset of, I'm figuring it out. And I
Yeah.
tell my kids that. I'm like, listen, I've never been a mom before, and I am not going to get it right all the time. So yeah, love that.
Yeah. Have you read Kelly Ripa's book, her memoir? What's it
Mm,
called? Oh my gosh. Live Wire. Have you read it?
no, I have not read
Okay.
it.
Put it on your list,
I
Zena. It is
will.
such a good read for moms and working moms, especially because Kelly Ripa has been a working mom basically her whole career.
Okay.
And so many truth bombs in there. And one thing that I remember from that book is how she says the first kid is like the first pancake.
Except you don't throw
And
it
you're
away.
figuring it out, you're learning, right? And it doesn't always come out perfect.
That is so, so true. I have so many examples of things that with my first one that I was so hung up on that drove me that I was driving myself crazy with. And then with the second one, I knew better. So, I didn't work myself up about things that really were not, didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. So I agree with
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. All right. Well, you're a mom. You've got an 11-year-old, almost 17-year-old, I think you said. So
Yeah.
you've personally been through a lot of seasons of
Yeah.
motherhood to date. And you've been able to find joy and fulfillment in all of them. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, which season was the hardest
Yeah.
to get there, to get to that joy, that fulfillment,
Mhm.
and why?
Yeah. I really love that question. And one thing that I want to say before I respond to the question is around joy and fulfillment. And one of the things that I had to learn along my journey is that every single day is not going to be joyful, like the entire day. Like you can find moments of joy if you look and you train yourself to pay attention. And it may just be drinking your coffee while it's hot. Like that could be a joyful moment. So I just want to preface that before I jump into it. The other thing that I will say is, and I experienced this more so with my first daughter, every phase felt hard. When I was in it, it felt like, oh my goodness, this is so hard. This is so difficult. Can't wait for whatever the next thing is. Can't wait for her to be walking. Can't wait, for her to get to elementary school. Um, but I found that the hardest for me was with my first daughter when I brought her home for the first time.
Mm,
And I don't think it was necessarily hard, like physically hard, but more so, I think mentally, because I was so scared. Like in the hospital, the nurses were there, everyone was there checking on you. And now they're sending me home with this little person that I am now responsible for keeping her alive. And I remember that just being so nerve-wracking for me, and it didn't help that my daughter ended up back in the hospital, like, shortly after she was born, so that amplified that season, of my life even more. So, I would definitely say, like, the early stages, specifically with my older daughter. With the second one, I feel like I kinda knew what to expect there. Um, yeah. So definitely under 5. I think was
okay.
the
Yeah.
hardest.
I I can understand that. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a real learning curve. Like, why is there no textbook?
Even if there was, I feel like, and you probably experienced this as someone that has multiple children, they're so different. Like, I cannot parent both of my girls the same way because
Yes.
they are 2 different people. So I think even if there was a textbook, like, it would have to come specific to specifically with
Customized
that
per child. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although my oldest just started driving, and the anxiety of that has been quite interesting.
Yeah. I can imagine. I'm not there yet, but I have those thoughts cross my mind
Yeah.
sometimes, and I tell them to go away because it's not time yet, but
Yeah.
I can imagine how you're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think so both of our girls go to the same school. They go to a Christian private school, and my little one, she just started middle school this year. And all summer, my husband and I were going back and forth like, are we going to allow Jada to drive her sister to school?
Mm,
And finally, we were like, it absolutely does not make sense for 2 of us to be driving to the same place. We did all the safety things, she did driving school, all of the things that we could potentially control and do. And then we just have to let it go and just put it in God's hands and say, you know what? I'm faithful, and prayer is different right now for me. Like when they leave the house, like prayer is different. And um just continuing to trust that I can't control everything and I can't wrap them up in a bubble and um not have anything happen to them. So,
yeah. Yeah.
but it's
Agreed.
interesting because even though it's like I'm anxious and it's mentally exhausting a little bit, it's also very freeing because now I have another driver in the house who is able to help with some of the things that either myself or my husband was responsible for. So it's a
Right.
weird sort of dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet there's some mixed feelings in there for sure. So Zena, you've been doing this working mom life for a while. We've
Yes.
got listeners from all different stages of motherhood. We've got new moms, toddler moms, school-aged moms, even moms maybe whose kids are ready to leave the nest soon.
Yeah.
So, what are some things you wish you knew or you paid attention to, maybe you wish you'd paid attention to in the early stages of the motherhood journey?
So So I have 2 things. The first one is what everyone says, like how fast it goes. But
Mm,
when you're in it, there's that saying that goes, the days are long, but the years are short. And
so
it's
true.
so, so true. With my oldest daughter, I wish that I paid more attention to the little things. Like I remember with her, for her first birthday, we wanted to do like this big extravagant thing. And it's so stressful, like, throwing parties and all this stuff, and I wish, like, I had it in my memory to recall the smaller moments, like, when she was learning to walk or, you know, when she said her first word. Like, even though we have those things documented and we have videos, I wish that I had, like, really imprinted those things into my memory. With my second daughter, I did a lot better because I knew how fast it was gonna go. So, I know that's not like a specific thing for moms to pay attention to, but I think just finding ways to take things a little bit slower, even in the chaos of all the busyness of life and being a working mom, just finding those moments to imprint those little
Hmm.
things into your memory.
Yeah, I love that. And they don't have to be these big milestones like
Mhm.
birthdays and things like that. They
Yeah.
can be a regular Tuesday evening, or
100%.
something like that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I do that a lot more. Like if my family's just together and we're at the dinner table having, just our regular chit chat, like imprinting that, like, oh, this feels so good. Cause I know like I'm so close now where my oldest is going to be out of the house pretty soon, like really feeling those moments and being present in those moments.
Hmm. It is so easy to let those memories escape because we have
Yes.
so much on our minds.
Yes.
One thing that I started doing a few years ago, and to be honest, I'm not consistent with this. I wish I was more consistent. Maybe this is my trigger, my my kick in the booty to get back on it. But I created email addresses for my kids, and they don't know them. They're we given them when they're older. And every now and then, when something really sweet or funny would happen, I would send them a note and tell them it or a
Oh, I love
picture
that.
of it. Again, I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be with it, but I just love that because it may not seem like such a big deal that day, and it's not. But in thinking about that 5 years later, you would never remember it, but it would be such a sweet thing to like re-trigger that memory, you know?
I've never heard that, and I think that that is such an amazing idea. And I know you're saying that you're not as consistent, but if you zoom out over 15
There's
years,
something there for sure. There's something. Something's better than nothing. Absolutely. And maybe this is my sign that I need to go back to that. I was really good about it for a while. I'd have like reminders on my Google Calendar
yeah,
every week to like send somebody an email or something. So I just have to get back
I
on the
love
train with
that.
that.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, it was a good one to bring up that point that you mentioned because it does. The years do go by really quick. And I used to roll my eyes when moms would tell me that when I was so sleep deprived and like so overwhelmed. And, now that I'm in a better headspace with that, I can really understand it. And I don't think it's just because the kids are a little bit older. Like I just really think the more the more experience you have in this crazy world, of juggling all the things in motherhood, like the more you just figure it out and, allow yourself that grace and all those things that we've been talking about.
Yeah,
So,
100% for sure.
so Zena, I'm really curious, what's been your biggest takeaway when it comes to finding that fulfillment as a working mom?
So this is something that I came to. I wouldn't say that I always knew this, but definitely something that I came to since doing this work and talking with other moms. And it's really embodying the idea that you are the heart of your home.
Mm.
And we have to do everything that we can to take care of the heart. And I think a lot of women get stuck in the cycle of being the primary parent, of being the one that has all of the things in their head, being the only one that can fold towels a certain way, or whatever the little thing is that you think you're the only person that can do it perfectly. And I think if we really embody us being the heart of the home and we know how important it is for you to take care of the heart, we wouldn't put ourselves on the back burner as much as we do. So when it comes to finding fulfillment and joy, I think it's really about learning yourself, knowing the things that bring you joy and fulfillment, not just getting stuck in the busyness of life and the go, go, go and the who needs to be at what practice and we're out of milk or all the things to keep your household running and really get to know, you know what, 1 hour of yoga twice a week or once a week, whatever it is, brings me so much joy and fulfillment. And because I am the heart of the home, I need to prioritize that. So I say all that to say that I think it's so important, especially working moms, to not get bogged down in the busyness and really, truly take care of themselves outside of the basic hygiene things that all of us should be doing every single day.
Yeah.
But how are you actually taking care of yourself? And what I've observed, and just from conversations with other moms, a lot of them don't even know themselves anymore. Like once you become a mom or you become a wife, you're almost no longer your own self. You are Jamal's wife, Jada and Zara's mom. You work for this company. And I think if we take a step back and really get to know ourselves, pay attention to what makes us feel good, um, because we are the longest relationship we'll ever have. Like the relationship with yourself is the longest one that you will ever have. And we lose sight of that. And I think it's important to remind moms, and I try to do this as much as possible with the moms in my life, like reminding them that you are the most important person in your life. And I think finding fulfillment really starts there.
I love that. And I agree. I think that a lot of moms, we lose ourselves in the journey and we forget. And the thing is that I also think there's like past versions of ourselves that we
Mhm.
don't necessarily want to go back to either. Like we're constantly evolving,
Yeah.
right? We're these lifelong learners, as you said. So I don't know. It's not necessarily about like going back and refinding who you were, but I
Mhm.
think it's about finding who you are in the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree 100%. And recently in I worked with someone who went on maternity leave and I was her manager and I remember her coming back and wanting to, oh, I just want to get back into it, you know. And I had to remind her like you did not lose time by being out on maternity leave, right? Like this is a different time in your life and I told her exactly what you said. It's like figuring out who you are now, not trying to get back to who you were before, you know, your family went from 2 to 3. Like you are a different person and you are going to continue to change and evolve as you grow as a mom, as your family continues to grow, as your child continues to grow, are you are going to have to pivot and evolve. And I think the work that we have to do is to know ourselves in all of these different phases. And once you know, then being able to communicate that to the people in your life, including your children. I mean, obviously, when they're really young, they may not understand, but as they grow, I have two girls, which for me is even more important for me to show them that they do not have to sacrifice themselves in the name of pleasing others or taking care of others, that they are important and their needs should be their top priority. So, yeah.
Love that. And love that you as a manager were able to provide that for your team. How
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. And I say this all the time, and I know we're in this place where a lot of women still feel like they have to choose between their career and their family. And for the women that want to do both, they love the work that they do, they also want to build a family. We need more leaders who understand what it means to be a working mom and then pay it forward. Reach
Yes.
back and say to that mom, I wish somebody would have told me, you don't have to come back and feel like you have to hustle to get
Mhm.
the best project or hustle to be seen because you took 12 weeks off. Like, your baby is only 12 weeks old, and this first year, you need to be taking care of your family. So, um I like to say that we have to keep moms in the workforce in order to keep moms in the workforce.
That's a good point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need
I
moms
love
in
that.
leadership roles.
Yes. Yes. And let's just be frank about it. Like, moms get stuff done.
They do. They do.
Moms are really good employees
They
too.
are. They are. And one of the things that eventually I hope, I'll be able to do is kind of matching that up. Like, we have moms that leave the workforce to take care of their family, and then corporate America penalizes them when it's time for them to come back.
Yeah.
And it's like, they have amazing skill sets to run a household and manage multiple children and extracurricular activities and all of the things. Like, that's the type of skill set that you want in an employee.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot there. Absolutely. Well, I know we could talk about this topic forever. So
Yeah.
much good stuff, Zena. But we're going to dive in real quick to just our lightning round where we're going to
Okay.
ask you some random, just for fun type questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Tell me, what is your go to, like, get it done, motivating song?
Oh my goodness. So I will say anything Beyonce. So I'm a huge
Oh,
Beyonce fan.
yes.
So Run the World, Energy, like any one of her hype music will get me going.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I love Beyonce. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life? What would it be? Calories don't count.
Calories don't count. Okay. So I'm a huge pasta girl. So any kind of pasta, I would be perfectly fine eating that every day.
Yeah, good choice. Absolutely. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Superpower. So for me, it would be being able to read and retain everything that I've read. Just
Mm,
have all of the information or anything that I have read to retain it and understand it would be my superpower.
love that. Okay. What's one app you can't live without?
Oh, my calendar. My calendar. I can't live
Yeah.
without my calendar. It tells me what I need to do, where I need to be, everything in our entire house. Everything goes on the calendar. If it's not
Yeah.
on there, it's not happening.
Totally get that. Totally get that. All right. Finally, what's something most people don't know about you?
So most people think that I'm an extrovert, and I am not. I am actually an introvert, but I can be social. So if I'm in a social setting, like I will chat, I will have a great time, but it completely depletes me. So that's something that most people don't know.
Well, Zena, we're just about ready to wrap up today's episode. Before we do, though, can you tell our listeners where they can find you, learn more about you?
Yes, absolutely. So our website is www.putyourcapeaway.com. And I am at Put Your Cape Away on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you. This was really good. I really enjoyed chatting with you.
You've been listening to the Mama Work It podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and would love if you could take a quick minute to leave me a review on whichever platform you're listening from, and maybe even send a note to a fellow mama friend recommending it. Reviews and recs help this podcast grow and reach more like-minded, awesome moms. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click that button so we can stay in touch, girl. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Mama Work It website, please do. There are lots of free resources and great articles there that can help you with the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. So head on over. Thanks again for being part of the tribe. I'll see you soon, but in the meantime, keep on working it, mama.